Hello everyone, I'm Zack and welcome back to another HitFilm tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to create this cinematic title inspired by Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'll be using the Surface Studio effect exclusive to HitFilm Pro. If you're using Express, check the description for a tutorial on using the parallax effect to achieve a similar result. One of the most important aspects of an epic title sequence is having the right font. The fonts I'm using are free from dafont.com, links in the description. Once you have downloaded and installed the fonts, open up a new composite shot in HitFilm. Add a new text layer and type out your text. I want each line to be its own layer, so I'll start with Justice League using the built titling font. Increase the font size and letter spacing. For the next text layer, I used a font I already had on my system called Abrima. The final text layer makes use of two fonts, Rounded Elegance and Gravity. Make the first word larger, then reduce the letter spacing. You can select individual letters and adjust the spacing if needed. Select each layer and make them into their own composite shots. This is so the Surface Studio effect will be applied before the layers transforms, as opposed to applying the effect directly to the text layer, which happens after the layer is transformed. Import your logo image and make it into its own composite shot. We could drag it in directly, but having it in its own comp would make it easier to swap in a new logo later on. Add a fill color effect to make your logo solid white. With these layers created, we can now position them properly. Select all the layers and make them 3D, adding in a 3D camera. Make sure to disable illumination for these 3D layers, as the Surface Studio effect will handle the lighting later on. I want each line of text to be placed at a different distance to the camera to add depth or parallax. Go into Top View, then position the logo far back by adjusting the Z position. Then, space out the other layers in between. Then adjust the Y position to place them vertically. It's a little hard to tell if our text is centered, so create a new plane layer and add the grid effect. In the preset dropdown, choose Title Safe Boundaries. This is a quick and easy way to see if your title is centered the way you want, and to make sure it isn't too close to the edge of the frame. Now that our layers are positioned correctly, we can animate the camera to slowly zoom in. I'll jump to the last frame of the shot and enable keyframing for the camera's position, since this is the position I want it to end at. Back on the first frame, move the camera backwards in Z-space. Playing this back, we have a nice slow camera move, revealing the depth between our 3D layers. To reveal our different layers over time, we can use HitFilm's built-in linear wipe animation effect. Adjust the reveal length, gradient size, and angle to create your transition. Copy this effect onto the other layers, then slide each layer along the timeline so they fade in one after the other. Now that our basic animation's in place, we can move on to adding more detail. I'll be using the Surface Studio effect exclusive to HitFilm Pro. If you're using Express, check the description for a tutorial on using the parallax effect to achieve a similar result. Make sure the surface effect is applied before the linear wipe. I don't want so much bevel on the edges, so reduce the bevel size. Surface Studio really shines when you provide it with a height map. I'll create one in a new composite shot by applying a fractal noise effect to a plane layer. Drag this height map comp back into the main comp and hide it. Then select it as the Surface 1 height map. Cool! Our text is starting to look like rock. There's a ton of settings to play with in the fractal noise effect to customize your height map. I ended up using multiple effects, each with a different noise type and scale. Set the second effect's blend mode to multiply so it combines with the previous noise effect. Then adjust the second effect's influence by changing the opacity. If you want to adjust your height map while viewing its effect on the other comp, click this handy pin icon. Now your controls panel won't change when you switch back to the other comp. Let's add some cracking to this rocky surface to add even more detail. Back in our height map, drag in another plane and add the lightning and electricity effect. Move the start and end points to opposite sides of the frame. Remove the glow, then set the animation speed to 0. Increase the number of trunks, and increase the end width. To apply these cracks to our fractal noise, add an invert effect, then set the layer's blend mode to multiply. We don't want these cracks to appear everywhere on our logo, so we'll need to use another fractal noise to control where the lightning effect is visible. Place the fractal effect before the invert and set the blend to multiply. Then adjust the scale, offset, exposure, and seed. You can also adjust the number of trunks, seed, and start and end width of the lightning effect. Now that the height map is complete, I reduced the surface height as the effect was too strong. Surface Studio comes with some built-in default lights, but we want to control the lighting ourselves. Set the illumination type to comp lights, then add in a new light layer. Position the light where it creates some nice contrast, revealing the detail from our height map. You can also adjust the fall off of the light to make the intensity fade out farther away from the light source. Duplicate the light and adjust its position and intensity until you are happy with the lighting. There are various material controls on the Surface Studio effect to change how the lights interact with the surface. I like the look of reducing the diffuse and increasing the specular. Copy the surface effect onto the other text layer, and adjust any settings if needed. Then copy it onto the background logo layer. I made the surface color much darker on the logo to make the text stand out more. I also ended up creating a separate height map for the logo, since it is so much larger than the text. add a color gradient effect to the final text layer, setting the blend to multiply. Move the start and end points to position the gradient. To finish off the title, I added a new grade layer and applied chromatic aberration, lens distort, and film grain. These effects add some imperfections to the title, making it feel a little more realistic and less CG. And that's how you can create your own Justice League title effect in HitFilm. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions or if you learned something new. Don't forget to check out our other Justice League tutorials, including Cyborg, Superman Heat Vision, and The Flash. Subscribe for more tutorials like this and be sure to give this video a like. See you next time!